The two identical women knelt down as the Darklighter turned to ashes, which then flooded into the Whitelighter's body. At that moment, the first Whitelighter and Darklighter finally merged into one. Half of her soul returned, and the woman became whole again, dissolving into light with a sense of relief. Harry, also a Whitelighter, remained deeply moved by the event. With the mysterious organization reviving the dead, the three sisters sensed danger, determined to restore the power of three. Mel and Maggie had already awakened new abilities through the Black Amber. However, Macy had not regained her powers. The three cast a spell, hoping to restore their full charmed power. As the spell took effect, magical swirls appeared on Mel and Maggie's hands, pulling them together, but Macy's powers remained dormant. The circuit was incomplete, and they failed. Frustrated, the trio went to a bar for drinks, but Macy suddenly had an idea. She realized that perhaps her demonic side was suppressing her witch side, and she knew how to fix it. Meanwhile, in the psychiatric hospital, the head nurse was about to awaken the Darklighter. Hearing a commotion outside, she left to investigate, giving the Darklighter a chance to escape. When Harry arrived, he found only chaos in the nurse's body. Upon further inspection, he also discovered the corpse of a member of the mysterious organization. With hesitation, Harry opened the door, and as expected, the Darklighter was gone. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind him. It was the Whitelighter. Harry immediately demanded an explanation. The man revealed that he had killed the nurse outside, while the Darklighter killed him and fled. At that moment, the Darklighter was walking down the road when a car almost hit her. The driver insulted her, and she killed him. Back at the command center, after returning from drinks, the two found a woman sitting in the chair, leaving them shocked. Harry introduced the first Whitelighter, and they were finally able to meet her. As everyone wondered how she survived, the woman explained, neither the Whitelighter nor the Darklighter could kill each other, making them realize that Harry's Darklighter was still alive and had never truly been destroyed. Meanwhile, Macy sought out Abigail, who took a knife and cut her palm. She offered to drain Macy's demonic powers, and Abigail, never one to refuse free power, quickly did so. The process was successful, and Macy's demonic powers were removed. At the same time, Mel was helping Helen review old letters, where they discovered her deepest regret, aside from being imprisoned by the elders, was a love she could never be with. Maggie and Harry, with this information, decided to stake out her first love's grave. Knowing she would come, they soon found the man's tombstone, and a vision of the future rushed in. It was the Darklighter. Maggie shoved Harry aside, and after a fight, the woman was subdued and successfully imprisoned in the command center. After ages apart, the two halves of one body had finally met again. The Darklighter had lost her previous violence, and the woman begged them to remove the barrier so she could merge with her other half and become whole. Though it was dangerous, she was tired of being separated and imprisoned. Once the spell was lifted, the two hugged tightly. Macy attempted to find a spell to help them. Having lost her demonic powers, Macy was no longer rejected by the Book of Elders. However, the Darklighter suddenly went mad and lunged at Macy, mistaking her for an elder. Seeing her Darklighter go berserk again, the woman chose to end her own life. Harry tried to heal her, but self-inflicted wounds couldn't be cured, leading to the opening scene. The first Whitelighter had been a failed experiment by the elders, imprisoned and controlled from birth. Perhaps only death could truly free her. After giving up her demonic powers, Macy rushed back to the command center, determined to dig up the roots of the Tree of Life to extract Black Amber and restore her witch powers. But to her dismay, the tree roots weren't secreting Black Amber. At the same time, Harry's Darklighter came to him. The Darklighter admitted he no longer wanted to fight and asked to speak with Whitelighter Harry about the truth that had always troubled them. It turned out to be a dream, but strange markings appeared on Harry's arm. The Darklighter had used their connection to invade his dreams, and Harry realized he had to go to the location the Darklighter had given. The sisters offered to go with him, but Harry refused to let them risk their lives. If it was a trap, they'd all be doomed. He took out the vial they had used to imprison the Darklighter, hoping he could trap him again. Before leaving, he urged Macy to find a way to restore her powers quickly. Then, he went to find Abigail, the Demon Queen. Abigail readily agreed to help but made it clear she wouldn't let Harry freeload forever. After everything was over, she expected Harry to stay by her side. The two teleported to the location, but something was off. The entire town seemed frozen in time. Back at the command center, the sisters continued to dig frantically, determined to find the Black Amber. However, Maggie accidentally triggered an alarm, leaving everyone confused. Suddenly, a door appeared out of nowhere on the wall. Macy approached but was blocked by a barrier, and the control panel was locked. Mel's magic wasn't working, and there was no phone signal. Meanwhile, Harry and Abigail wandered the eerie town, drawn by the sound of a broadcast. Abigail went to investigate, discovering that the car's keys had been left in the ignition, and there was blood on the steering wheel. Opening the back door, they found a strange device, which turned out to be a magic energy detector. That's why the mysterious organization was able to locate so many magical creatures. The device in their hands reacted strongly to the house in front of them. Meanwhile, Mel was still trying to break the barrier, and the three of them searched the Book of Elders for a way to break the spell. As the sisters touched the book, it began to glow and flipped open on its own. Macy suddenly had an idea and started shouting into the air, surprisingly getting a response. The voice claimed to be a guardian, allowing them to ask 5 questions, but every answer they received was classified. Mel noticed that the text in the Book of Elders had switched from an ancient language to English this time. On the other side, Harry and Abigail continued following the tracker, and a shadow was watching them from inside the house. They quickly entered, and the tracker began to react violently. Something was up ahead. Abigail raised her hand to remove the obstacle and chased after it, revealing a little girl. Meanwhile, the 3 sisters found a clue in the book. To break the barrier, they had to confess all their secrets because they were digging into the source of Black Amber's magic. The command center had instinctively activated its protection, and proving they had no ill intent might be the only way out. The 3 of them stared at the list of names on the pages, realizing these were all groups of 3. They weren't the first charmed ones. Back with Abigail, the tracker showed an intense reaction around the girl. It was clear she wasn't just an ordinary child. Harry used his magic to heal her injuries, and the girl began to trust them. It turned out someone had been trying to capture her, and in her panic, she lost control of her magic, freezing the entire town. Fortunately, the people trying to capture her were also frozen. Meanwhile, Mel asked the last of their 5 questions, and the final test began. A magical cage appeared, and Macy tried throwing her notebook out, but it was instantly destroyed. The cage was also shrinking. If the light touched them before they revealed all their secrets and lifted the barrier, they would die. On the other side, Harry and the others, guided by the girl, found her captors members of the mysterious organization. The girl mentioned that while trying to capture her, they kept talking about extracting something. Just then, several cars barged into the frozen town, and Harry and the others quickly fled. Meanwhile, the sisters were confessing their secrets in frustration. Maggie revealed that their father had always known she wasn't his biological daughter, and Macy admitted she knew Parker was alive but didn't tell Maggie. As the secrets spilled out, the magical runes on the wall began to complete themselves. Finally, when Macy confessed her last secret, the runes fully connected, the barrier was lifted, and everything returned to normal. The door that had appeared suddenly opened. On the other side, Harry had just teleported into the house. It was clear their enemies had come prepared, equipped with the same toxin that the Darklighter used to suppress magic. The sisters walked through the portal into a hidden chamber and were stunned to see the Tree of Life from the Book of Elders, but it was growing upside down. Macy noticed leaves on the ground, coated with the same toxin the Darklighter had used. On the altar in front of them was a chalice and a pool filled with black amber. Just as Macy reached out to touch it, a figure appeared. The guardian revealed herself. This woman was the first of the charmed ones. Elsewhere, Abigail confronted the mysterious agents. Without hesitation, they started fighting. Abigail easily deflected their poison needles, and while they were reloading their weapons, she unleashed her power and turned them to ash. The Guardian then revealed to the sisters the brutal history of the Charmed Ones. Each time the world faced a crisis, the power of 3 would be reborn, but each new generation of Charmed Ones would eventually perish. This cycle had continued for centuries without exception, which explained the many names in the Book of Elders. The cause of their downfall was always the breakdown of sisterhood. The sisters were confused. If the outcome was inevitable, why were they being tested? The Guardian explained that they hoped this generation of Charmed Ones could break the cycle. The test was designed to ensure they were honest with each other, without secrets or resentment. With unity, anything was possible. Macy asked if drinking from the chalice filled with black amber would restore her powers. The answer was yes. Mel worried that this woman might be the embodiment of their ultimate fate, but the Guardian smiled gently, saying she guarded the past and future, but their fate was in their own hands. Then she dissolved into light and returned to the Tree of Life. Meanwhile, the girl, under Harry's guidance, lifted the magic that had frozen the town. At the same time, Macy wrestled with the thought that if she didn't regain her powers, she wouldn't have to worry about the power of 3 destroying them, but the 3 young women, tasked with this great responsibility, were braver than ever at that moment. They believed they could face anything together and left the decision to Macy. Finally, Macy made her choice. She would restore her long-lost powers. As the familiar energy flowed through her, Macy finally breathed a sigh of relief. But Maggie sensed something and quickly pushed Macy aside as a giant boulder flew across the room. It seemed Macy's powers had become stronger. The sisters then cast a spell to restore the power of 3, and magical swirls appeared, forming a complete circuit of energy. Just as they were about to finish the ritual, it was interrupted. Maggie was frustrated, believing Abigail had tampered with Macy's powers when she stripped away her demonic side. Macy admitted that maybe it was for the best that they couldn't restore the power of 3. After all, throughout history, every generation of charmed ones who wielded this power had been destroyed, but with the mysterious organization plotting to steal their magic, and the Darklighter threatening them, they had no other choice. Harry said he wouldn't come, but he entered both their subconscious minds again, discovering that the Darklighter was in trouble, which meant he was also in danger. Everyone rushed to the command center, and Harry and Mel used the images from their subconscious to search for the Darklighter. Macy and Maggie returned to the command center to find a spell to sever their connection, and they actually found a similar spell. Meanwhile, Harry and Mel arrived at the abandoned factory, where many magical creatures had previously been held, but now they were all gone. After searching, they discovered an abandoned experiment area, and as they followed a scent and opened a canister, a foul odor hit them. It was a dead magical creature inside. Back at the command center, Macy kept trying the spell, but every attempt failed. The White and Darklighters were originally one, so breaking the link was no easy task. Back with Mel, the two were confused as well. The mysterious organization was trying to extract magic from the magical creatures. Could it be like distilling essential oils? Mel immediately used her magic to reveal past events, showing a group conducting experiments, but things spiraled out of control. They tried to sedate the creature, but a claw rose, and soon it was a massacre. A creature surrounded by black mist appeared. The abilities they had been studying went out of control. This creature possessed the combined abilities of the magical creatures it had killed. Now all it needed was a host. The mysterious organization thought they could wield divine power in human form, but that was no easy feat. Harry's Darklighter was the perfect candidate. Harry found the female doctor's phone at the scene, tracing it back to this very place, which was what he saw in his subconscious. He could feel the Darklighter was there, so they sneaked inside. Harry found the door from his vision and tried to teleport through it, but failed. With no other choice, they had to break in. Mel used her magic, and the doorknob started glowing red. Was the Darklighter inside? Meanwhile, Maggie brought Jordan to see Abigail, under the pretense of breaking Jordan's curse, but she quickly sneaked into the dungeon, where Parker was being held. The estranged lovers were finally reunited. However, Maggie was still mad that Parker had wanted to kill Jordan, which made her furious. Parker offered to help, sensing she was looking for something, and Maggie revealed her purpose. Back with Mel, she was still burning the door, and Harry felt a strong connection. The Darklighter was calling him. He teleported into the room, only to find the bottle the Darklighter had been trapped inside again. Mel was even more confused. If the Darklighter was in the bottle, then what was behind the door? The force inside the door exploded, flinging it off its hinges. Both Harry and Mel were knocked to the ground as a dark figure grabbed the Darklighter's bottle. It was the creature. The creature was trying to forcibly break the bottle and take over the Darklighter's body. Harry felt the same physical impact. Mel immediately went on the offensive, and after a struggle, they finally drove the creature away. Luckily, the bottle was still intact. Meanwhile, Maggie, with Parker's help, found the dagger, but Abigail entered with Jordan. Abigail mocked Maggie's intentions, but Maggie accused her of tampering with Macy, causing them to lose the power of 3. In response, Abigail handed the dagger back to her, telling her to use any spell she wanted to check, as she had done nothing. So the question remained, what was really blocking them from restoring the power of 3? Elsewhere, Harry and Mel, still shaken, found a corpse in the hallway. It was the creature's host. It turned out to be the same corpse that had been revived. What was the mysterious organization's purpose in reviving dead bodies and giving them magic? At the same time, Macy's magical experiments made a breakthrough. She couldn't separate the White and Darklighters, but perhaps she could fuse them together. What would Harry choose? The mysterious organization held an emergency meeting after the creature escaped. Leading them was none other than Julian's aunt, Vivian. So, was Julian's acquisition of the exhibit center really just for business?